Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show. I'm your host, Christie Taylor, and it's election season. And we're going to be talking to one of our Tennessee state representatives on today. Had an opportunity to meet him last year. Very dynamic gentleman from a family who has been a pillar in the Memphis community. And I'm excited to hear from him to give us updates on what's happening on the Hill. We're talking none other than the Tennessee representative, Jesse Chism from District 85, who's also a real estate investor. And let me tell you, he is committed to working in Tennessee, working in nonprofits, as well as education as a classroom teacher. And he is a Morehouse man. Yes, he is, with a BS in business administration and a focus in marketing economics. And he has developed a strong sense of devotion for education and service to others from watching his mother, who was also an educator for many years, and his father, who is a legend in our community, a businessman in the community in which he has lived for over 4 decades. Now, Representative Chism was elected into the office of state representative and has been appointed into various prestigious positions. And let me tell you, he has the experience and the training that we need to lead us forward. And I love his family's motto: service above self. I want you all to help me welcome to the Christie Taylor Show, Representative Jesse Chism. Hey, how are you, sir?
Hello, hello, hello. How is everything?
I'm very well, very well. I'm super excited to have a chance to chat with you again. We met last year in 2019, pre-COVID. And of course, you know, you were in the midst of some exciting things even then, but congratulations on your reelection. And I'm looking forward to finding out what's happening with you in your district and what's happening in the state of Tennessee. But first, for those who may not know who you are, Jesse Chism, kind of give a background story, your bio and your family's legacy here in the Mid-South area.
Okay, I am Jesse Chism. First, I'll just say that I'm the son of William and Norma Chism, who are my parents, who I love dearly, who taught me so many things in life that I get a chance to use every day now. So if my parents are out there listening right now, thank you so much for all that you have done and all that you currently do. So I've had the privilege of being the offspring of a former educator. My mother, Norma Chisholm, who was a teacher. She made sure that first she made sure I got my lesson in school. First, she made sure that I knew how to be respectful, how to be a gentleman, how to be courteous. Then my father, who was a businessman in our district, who came up with he and his brothers came up with the Chisholm Trail and Maxi Foods. And there, so I grew up in a grocery store. But while I was there, I got a chance to learn about service, to learn about people, and learn how to deal with people who are different from myself. Wow. And that's been something that's helped me every step of the way. And it's just an honor to be in that space. Of course, I went to Morehouse College.
Morehouse man.
I wanted to get a good education, so I made sure that I worked hard and went to the best school possible. Yeah, Morehouse. Also, but professionally, I am a real estate investor. So I purchased blighted homes, and a lot of times I move into them to fix them up.
And that's daring. That's a TV show.
Yeah. So I come out and with the home, we then have affordable housing for families that are in need. But that's a little bit about myself. I was elected in 2018 here at the General Assembly, which has been my life's honor. It really has been. I've gotten a chance to see a lot, and I've learned more in the last 2 years than I have in the last 20 combined, I tell you. But it's been an honor. And we've actually, even as a freshman, have been able to maneuver and get some things done in a space where it can be challenging sometimes. Because being in a super minority, we have to scream for our voice to be heard sometimes. Right. So thank goodness for a good microphone and some willing ears here and there. So yeah, we've got a chance to get a lot done. But We're only at the beginning, so our sleeves are rolled up because we definitely have a lot of work to do.
Well, I also congratulations in your reelection.
Thank you.
20. Now, Representative Chism, tell me about your district. For those of us, I'm not a Memphis native. I've been here a long time, but I would love to learn more about your district, where it is geographically, and just some of the highlights and notable people and history about your district.
Okay. So I am from District 85, which is the most western district in the state of Tennessee. That district I take that Holmes and State Line corridor from 3rd Street or 64 or 61, 61, all the way to Forest Hill, Irene. And once you get to Forest Hill, Irene, we ride the expressway until you get to about Kirby Parkway. So the district, it kind of curves. It's kind of mapped out, kind of funny, but there are a lot of great things going on in our district. Of course, parts of Whitehaven is part of that district, and in
Right.
Whitehaven, we get a chance to host more Black-owned businesses than anywhere else in the state.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity to have good people, good schools, good food. It's a pleasure to be in District 85. Shout out to my high schools too: Westwood, Fairleigh, Ridgeway, and Southwind. So to my high
Wow.
schools out there, shouts out to them.
That's a powerful corridor because, as you've stated, Whitehaven is one of the most affluent Black communities and actually one of the most stable communities in the entire state. Let's talk about historical Whitehaven and the southeast corridor, because you kind of pretty much have going all the way to Forest Hill, Irene, also a very large pocket of affluent African Americans. Can we talk about that corridor
Okay.
that?
Well, in our district, we have so many people that look like us who have been doing so many great things for such a long time.
Yes.
So not only do we have economic drivers to drive our neighborhood, but we have examples of people who've done it that give us inspiration to continue to do things. For me, it was as close as the next room for me. I got a chance to see my parents get up and go to work every day, and not only did they try to make a living for their family, but also make sure that other families in the district could make a living for their family as well. Because, a lot of times we get caught up in titles and positions and saying that we're doing a lot of things, but with it comes a lot of responsibility. Right. And I got a chance to see a lot of people who took their responsibility and did great things with it. So, and that's not just in my family. We have a lot of affluent families there who've been doing those things. So, congratulations to those people. And, we want to rally behind people who are doing good things.
Now, one of the things I do want to highlight is because your district is one of those historical districts where a lot of Black people really have anchored and stayed, and you're talking generationally. And yet with the fact that we still have a very strong populace of affluent Blacks or upperly mobile Blacks in those communities, or African Americans in those communities, we still have our challenges, even in the history of your family. As you stated, you grew up in a grocery store. However, like a lot of African American businesses throughout time in the decades, and as industries have changed, you have faced challenges. Let's talk about those challenges that you know firsthand and what's happening currently in 2020.
Well, one of the bigger challenges that many of us have is access to funding. Because many times when people are from our walk of life who are getting ready to do some great things, we start with our last $2.
Yeah.
We start with very little, but a good book tells us that despite not the day of small beginnings. That's so true. A lot of times we get a chance to see a lot of small beginnings, but that's a big barrier that we have on a state level. You have Black Caucus members like myself and so many others who are going to our governor, going to our elected officials who are in leadership about making more of an economic, I hate to use the word stimulus, but to have an economic plan for our communities of color, because we've been a great friend to the state, to the city, and a great friend to the United States of America.
True.
And
That
we
is
want to
true.
make
A
sure.
great friend. That would be an understatement.
Yes, we've been a great friend out, but and we want to make sure that those who are able to assist in these endeavors, that they roll their sleeves up with us and do the same.
What was your 2020 platform this
So
year?
my 2020 platform, here in 2020, the biggest thing that I'm focused on right now is criminal justice reform.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no secret that in communities of color, we do more time for similar crimes. So many of our young people have been in prison due to nonviolent crimes,
Right.
and we're seeing some extreme punishments for minor crimes. So, some think that I'm trying to free everybody, which I take that with a badge of honor, because there are some things that we do need to reform. We need to refocus. One bill that I do have coming down the pipeline right now is House Bill 1185. And what that bill does is it limits solitary confinement for juveniles. So many of us didn't know that they were still doing solitary confinement. However, it's still being practiced, but it's being practiced under the cloak of seclusion. So we have to define solitary confinement. So whatever is being called at the time, it can still be seen as the same thing, because anytime we're putting 14, 15-year-olds in 23 and 1, I believe we're doing a lot more damage than we can do good with those individuals. So we want to make sure as a state, we're not setting people up so they can come back.
Right.
We want to rehabilitate, not reincarcerate. Yeah.
Now, of course, that's a challenge when we do know that the prison complex, that it has been made a for-profit industry. So in Tennessee is noted for that. So what type of challenges are you facing as a result of that?
There have been a lot of challenges, because we've been working on the bill and having meetings and going through the committee process ever since I've been here. So right now, we're still in the works of working with law enforcement, working with our prisons, because they've been doing this for so long that we not only do we have to tell them to undo what's been done, we have to give them another alternative on what to do. So what we're doing now is working with those particular parties. So we're sitting everybody at the table, and we're giving everybody a small piece of what they want. But I got a feeling everybody's going to leave the table wishing they had a little bit more. But usually those when the best deals are made. So we want to make sure that we're being fair to our youth and not just throwing them away.
That is extremely crucial, particularly when we are nationwide dealing with a push for police reform, because oftentimes to end up in the prison system, you got to first start, with your first contact with law enforcement.
Right.
Now, this has been 2020. Once again, as you've been campaigning, a lot has been happening across our city, our state, and the world, as well as the nation. Your take on the current state of affairs, particularly in law enforcement?
Well, first let me give a shout out to our people who are doing good things in law enforcement. Many of our officers are going out and they're doing the right things, and they're going out with the right heart. But when we talk about police reform, we're not talking about those people. We're talking about the ones that are going out with certain biases, that are going out with certain thought patterns and doing bad things to people of communities that are different from our own. I've had many constituents reach out to work with me on a plan to make sure that officers are able to patrol neighborhoods that they are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Because in many of our neighborhoods, we that guy that talks a little crazy sometimes and may not look like the rest of us, we know
Right.
that person, and we know
Right.
that they're harmless. But someone who's not from a similar type area, they could
Correct.
become afraid, and when people
Right.
become afraid, they have weapons, they tend to use them. So
Yeah.
we want to again sit everybody at the table so we can disarm some of their fear, so that we can disarm some of our own fear.
That's true.
Because the relationship between police departments and communities of color have been strained ever since there have been officers, and ever since there's been those
Ooh,
particular things. And
it's been a challenging history. It has a
mm-hmm,
challenging history.
and we don't have time to talk about all those things
No,
today,
we
but
can't. We got
we'll
to
sit
talk
down and
about
do it
what's
one
been
day.
happening. Yeah, we will. What I do want to talk about in shifting gears is what's happening on the Hill.
Okay, here at the Hill right now, as we speak, of course, I won't have the information from it yet, but right now there's a committee going on right now to look at the emergency powers of the governor.
Okay.
Because during this particular time, the governor has an unprecedented amount of power right now. Because during times of adversities like we're in right now, we tend to give our top leadership a little bit more leeway. And we want to, and right now they're in committees making sure that uh, our governor has the right amount of power, so he won't have so much power that he abuses, but not so little that it can't be effective. So
Correct.
I think that balance is the key. Is the key thing. So that's what's going on right now. We also had we recently had a special session
Mm-hmm.
um, back in early August,
Mm-hmm.
and at that special session, we did some good things. We got a chance to expand our telemedicine so people could have
We need that.
access to
Yes.
information that
Yes.
could help them survive this pandemic.
Right.
Also, there was another bill that was put for our small businesses so they could have coverage because we're in it during this time of COVID-19. It's new. This thing is new to everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
So our small businesses, our individuals, uh, we wanted to give them a little coverage so they won't be as exposed to all of the adversity that could come with the pandemic.
What does that entail?
Well, it protects our small businesses from being sued if someone were to contract COVID and not know where they got it from. You can point at any business that you've been to where people
Right.
have been and
Right.
say it was there. So we wanted to protect those small businesses. Of course, when the bill was coming in, I had some reservations at first, but because one of those reservations were our large businesses, and because we do have some bad actors out there, we do
Yes.
have
Uh,
we do have some organizations who've heard the advice of the experts and have done the opposite. We do have those, and I had a big reservation because I didn't want to protect those. But
Right.
as a state, all of our legislation applies to everyone. So
That's
we want to make sure that our small mom pop shops could still operate safely.
right. There's another big bill that has been making news, um, particularly in regards to protesting.
Yeah. So that bill is House Bill 8005. And what that bill does, it actually gives more time for protesters that the way the bill reads is it uh, give people more time for stuff like vandalism and assault and disorderly conduct. But many of our protesters have been safe. They've been peaceful. They have been uh, well organized, actually. However, uh, I've seen some things on the news, most notably Fox News, that have shown a lot of rioting. And really,
Right.
that's not the spirit. That's not the spirit of the protests that are going on.
That's true.
Matter of fact, many people who are involved with those activities are not a part of the protests going on. And that was deeply explained to our people who are on the opposing side of that bill.
Right.
You know, because I've gotten the chance to be in the in protest. I've gotten the chance to stand between the protesters and the reserves, you know, the military, and just being in there and seeing how things could have gone, but due to the people protesting having the right heart into doing so, you know, those things worked out fine. Matter of fact, there was one point where the military put down their shields, and when we pass a bill to give people, because we're making felons out of people who just want their voice heard, and I thought it was a bad bill. I think it slaps the face of those who are out there trying to use their First Amendment rights, because people on the other side of this have to remember why we're protesting in the first place.
Yeah.
We're not protesting because we can't go to the barbershop. We're not protesting because you know, we can't watch our favorite TV show. We are protesting because it's been proven that certain people in law enforcement, you know, not everybody, but certain people in law enforcement have taken the privilege that they have, and they've taken it too far. They've used too strong of a hand on our community, and we want to let the world know that we cannot continue to do those kind of things to our people. We can't continue to do that.
Another discussion will definitely be had for us regarding what is police reform, what is defunding the police really looking like, and what type of legislations, you know, may be put in place. But there's something else as we come to the wrap up that I know that you definitely want to touch on that's happening on the Hill. What's one of the hot topics and one of the things that you are noting that's formulating as we get to the last quarter of 2020 for the state of Tennessee?
One thing that I'm noticing here is we're having a big fight about voting.
Yes.
That's why I want to kind of segue to let everyone know to exercise your right to vote. So many people have fought, bled, and died for our right to vote. And if it was not important, if it wasn't going to make any difference at all, people wouldn't fight us so hard to make sure that we could not vote. So, and whenever someone fight that hard about something, just know that there's something to it. There's something to this voting thing. You know, of course, there's not a politician on earth that can snap their finger and change your life. That's not that's not how it goes. However, we can have more people who have our better interests in mind, who will fight for those better interests. Because here at the state, on the state level, you know, we need more Democrats. We need more people from our communities of color to represent us here. Because out of 99 votes, you need 51 votes to get anything passed. And as far as Black Caucus, you know, we're the fighting 17 up here.
It's 17 of you, just 17.
17. So, and as Democrats, there's 26 of us.
Wow.
So in order to get anything passed, we need 51. So we definitely need more people who can speak to the needs of our communities. Now, don't get it twisted now. The 26 you have here are known as the fighting 26 for a reason. You know, we go to war on a daily basis, and, you know, it's an honor to do so.
All right, then. Well, we're going to be right back after this. right, we are back with Representative Jesse Chism, District 85, right?
That's it. The best district in the land.
Okay, now what are some of the things that you as a state representative try to champion for your own district? What are some of those challenges, some of those victories that you're enjoying?
I'm definitely championing better schools. So, and better schools mean better funding. And so that we can have the best people, the best supplies, the best equipment to educate our students. I'm championing for more funding for virtual learning, because during this time when we're in virtual learning, it's new to everyone, but we want to make sure that we're doing it right. But even while we are virtual learning, we have to understand that one day we're actually all going back into the classrooms.
That's right.
So we want to catch up on some of this deferred maintenance that's needed for a lot of these schools, so that when teachers and students actually do come back to the actual building, they have the best things to work with in order to educate our future.
Now, I know that you are a former educator, as well as you said, your mom. So I know that's very, very dear to your heart. And what are some of the things that your constituents say about you, and that one reason why they said, yes, we give you a second term?
Well,
because you can't brag on yourself, but you can tell me what they said.
Okay. Well, I've heard some flattering things, but the biggest thing that I'm just inspired that a lot of people are seeing the work that we're trying to do here. They're saying that we're willing to come in early, leave late, come up down this highway as many times as it takes to get things done. And a lot of times I miss the people I love in Memphis, because we were sent here to do this work. And I'm so glad that so many of our people understand that a lot of things that happen in our community can't always be it, because we're up here trying to keep the fire burning so that we can continue to have warmth in our homes at home. So it is an honor. It truly is.
Well, truly, it also has been an honor, State Representative Jesse Chism, to have you here on the Christie Taylor Show. And for those who want to continue to learn more about you and to support you, they can go to your website, which is jessechism.com. But also, are you active on social media?
Yes, I am active on social media, mainly Facebook. You can hit me at jesse.chism.71 at Facebook. And it's the same thing for Instagram.
All right.
You can give me there, or you can call me here at the office.
All right.
And that number is area code 615-741-6954. And our office will definitely tackle as many of your needs as we can and continue to put the work in.
Excellent. Of course, they can see across the ticker. They can go to your website. You can follow him on Facebook and Instagram. And he said you can give him a call. I love it. Well, Representative Chism, thank you so very much. We truly do appreciate it. And any last words?
Yeah, sure. My last words would be let's all continue to walk together, fight together, and get the things done that our community needs. So whatever it is that you do, be sure to do it so well that no man living, no man dead, no man yet to be born can do it any better.
All right. I like that. That's some good inspiration. Thank you so very much. And thank you all for joining me for yet another episode of the Christie Taylor Show. I'm really excited to be able to share this great information and these amazing people with you. Until next time.